Welcome to Join the Conversation, a podcast of the Student Housing Matters blog. Join the Conversation features interviews with higher education leaders about their institutions and careers in higher education and their perspectives on the role on-campus student housing plays on a university campus. Joining the conversation today is Dr. Sue Henderson, president of New Jersey City University. Dr. Henderson was selected by NJCU in June of 2012, becoming the first female president of the institution. She had previously served as Chief Operating Officer of the City University of New York's Queens College, where she had served since 2002.
Hello, Sue. Welcome to Joining the Conversation.
Thank you so much. I'm eager to be here.
Well, we're in Birmingham, Alabama, where the weather's beautiful. Spring is sprung. Is that true in New Jersey as well?
I could be wishing. It's actually very sunny here, and the bulbs have started coming up, but today I think the high is going to be 45. Really? However, the fact that the sun's out really makes it feel warmer. So
that's right.
Spring's here.
Well, also, I wanted to know how it feels to be into your new presidency 240 days today.
Wow, 240 days. I didn't realize that. Okay.
It's something like 57,000 hours, by the way.
Oh, that's a lot.
Don't quote me on that number, but it's close.
I have really enjoyed this. My first 2 months was, as I used to say, drinking from a fire hose because there was a lot of information at once. But I will tell you that NJCU is a very warm and welcoming place, and people have been very open. And the other piece that I find about the people at this institution is that they're willing to try new things. And that openness to explore, to see, to want to be better is a wonderful thing. They're also very committed to the institution and to making it a better place. So I'm having fun, actually.
What's been the high point?
I guess the high point for me has been to see in a very short time some of my reports really grow and blossom, and to see some of the really great potential for this particular institution. Do you know that we are located in probably the county that sends more revenue down to the state office than any other county in the state? We're sort of the financial district, if you will, for the state, because we're located right next to Manhattan, and we're growing just exponentially. And I'm the one public institution in that particular county. So I have great opportunity, as well as the fact that the institution is already wonderfully diverse, which is I think is what the future of this country is. So there's just huge possibilities.
Are you working hard to keep some of that money within the institution and not moving it all in another direction?
That would be exactly what I'm trying to do. I've gotten a lot of business people excited about the institution and excited about moving us forward.
You know, you've had a lot of positions of leadership in higher education over the years as I follow your career. Is there any one position that you think really sort of you call upon the most that really helps set you up to be successful as a president?
I would think my last position was probably very instrumental in making sure that I knew what was required to be a president and what some of the pressures and what some of the focus points need to be. When I was at Queens College, I was the Chief Operating Officer, which meant I would work with faculty to develop new programs. I would work with students to make sure that they were involved in the Model UN or they were doing some study abroad experiences. I would work to make sure that we had developed international programs and did a year of program that helped both the community as well as our campus. I worked with the community, but I also helped recruit alumni to get them engaged and was involved in a lot of fundraising and work with the federal and local legislators. What else did I do? I taught in the math department, and just had a lot of fun with the students, the faculty, and staff on campus, seeing that place kind of grow and prosper.
You know, one of the things that strikes me about you and your career, and also personally watching you stay engaged with students on a regular basis, cooking in your home, being at athletic events, just really sort of charged up and engaged when you're with students. Can you do that and be a president? You
have to. I think that's what makes it so much fun. My first week here at NJCU, I decided that I wanted to attend leadership retreat that the students were taking. Now, this was all the presidents, vice presidents, secretaries, and treasurers of every student club on campus. And they went away for the weekend to a wonderful little resort that was up north in New Jersey. And after I got lost a few times because I was new to the state, I finally found it, and I was absolutely blown away. And here's what I really realized, that our student affairs here on campus and student life is quite vibrant. The students there were confident. They asked lots of wonderful questions. They wanted to succeed, and they want to be leaders. And they were leaders here on campus. So that was a wonderful introduction to what I am finding about these students, to see that they are going to be the future of our country, and that we have a really big responsibility to make sure that we not only teach them to be leaders, but we also give them the right education so they can get the right job.
You know, you mentioned student affairs, and in a lot of institutions we're finding student affairs kind of getting lost in the administration, if you will, not put sort of in the place that allows them to remain certainly engaged and focused. And I know at Queens College that was not the case. Do you see that as being an important role within the organizational structure of a university?
Well, it's interesting, and I used this phrase in my speech, last two speeches to the campus community, and that's this: the quality of an institution is determined by the value or the quality of your faculty. So you want to take care of the faculty, grow the faculty. But the reason we exist is for the students and for their success. And that would be something that I would say was critically important here at this institution, and it's one of my core values, is to seeing a student grow from an 18-year-old to a 22-year-old, or from a 26-year-old to a 29-year-old, whether they're coming back as an adult or whether they're new here and they're entering straight from high school. It's a fabulous thing to me to see them grow up emotionally, socially, but also in understanding their discipline and the thing in which they're planning on majoring. So it's just been a remarkable thing. One of the benefits of working with students both at NJCU and also at Queens is most of the students here are either the first in their family to go to college, or they're new to this country, and the world is their oyster. They have just such a real sense of what's possible, and helping them to explore that and know that they will be the leaders of tomorrow is an exciting thing to me.
You know, intrinsically we know when students are sort of turned on by education and they're actively involved in the campus, but we don't have a lot of ways to sort of measure outcomes. In your mind, what is a good outcome?
A good outcome for me, and this is something we're actually working on here at NJCU, would be to know that if I sat in a classroom and I took a history course, and you might have studied for one of your chapters in your history course, you've studied Lincoln. How is it you turn the leadership that Lincoln exhibited as a president into what you do on campus as the president of your local club? And what are the connections that can be made? So taking the things that are in the classroom and then making those alive and real outside on the campus. I think those are very strong connections. And you can measure those in a couple of ways. One has to do with, obviously, student surveys, but I will tell you that I think some of this picks up in what you see in the kind of jobs that students have when they leave, and whether they, when they leave the job, end up in positions of management or leadership.
You know, anything worth doing has challenges and opportunities. You now have a position that really sort of sets the course of an institution and guides it through. What are the challenges and opportunities for City?
We've got a wonderful lot of opportunities. This particular county sends more revenues down to the state than any other county in the state. It is also where the financial home is for the state, because we're right across the river from Manhattan. And we're finding more and more institutions, financial institutions, wanting to set up camp and work on this side of the river instead of that side of the river for various reasons. The city is growing quite exponentially, and we are the one public institution in this particular county, and we'd like to make sure that we're a strong player there. So that is a wonderful opportunity for us. The other opportunity that I think that is quite rich is the fact that we're very diverse. We have a lot of immigrants here, but we also have a lot of students who are maybe second generation, whose families came here from either Poland or Ireland, or they came from Italy, and they've been here for a couple of generations, but they have that, still have that real sense of what the American dream is. Those are two very strong opportunities for us. The challenges are the same as the challenges all over the country, in that state funding has stayed flat while our costs have continued to go up. And how is it we think more entrepreneurially about bringing revenue into the institution so that we don't have to continue to raise tuition?
I'm going to reach back a little bit to your Queens College days. We had an opportunity to work together on the first residence hall to be built on the Queens campus. Queens, of course, being long considered as a residential campus, a neighborhood who didn't necessarily want to see residents living on campus, and you worked very diligently with the neighborhood associations and with the campus generally to begin the first housing program for that campus. Why did you see that as important, and what do you think the outcome has been?
So one of the very first things we did when we got to Queens is to get a group of key faculty together to ask them, what do you think we need to be doing to make this a more vibrant place? And some of our senior faculty, who were very successful as academicians, but also as faculty and teachers, said, you know what, you need residence hall. And said, why? They said, well, down the street is an institution that built residence halls and is building more. And we know that a large majority of the students that come to that particular institution come from the neighborhood, and they live on campus because they want to have that experience. Well, we knew that we wanted to capture that market, but we also knew that because for some of our stronger programs like music and in the sciences, we wanted to recruit students from around the country. In order to do that, we needed to have housing. We also had a very good athletics program that needed to bring in students from other parts of the country because you need to find the softball player that might perhaps be in Iowa. As a matter of fact, we did recruit one after we built the residence hall. She wanted to major in music at a really good music school, and she wanted to play softball, but not at a Division I. We were the perfect match for her. And so she came and stayed and had a wonderful experience. The same thing is happening here at NJCU. We have some residence halls. We need to grow it, and we have just begun a new honors program. And one of the components of the honors program at some point will be some housing that's around their learning experience. But we're also recruiting students from India and China, and they like to come over here as cohorts, and they need a place to stay. So having the housing there. We also will be recruiting students from something called National Student Exchange, which we did at Queens. This is an organization where there are about 650 institutions in the country have a consortium that says, you play your home institution, go to the other institution, take the courses there, and then you can participate in internships. And it's a great way for us to get people from Utah, from Hawaii, from California to come to our campus so that they can take advantage of what's in Manhattan, but then also because our students can see what people from California are like and share those experiences. So these are things that I think make a campus much more vibrant.
Did you see the campus at Queens change when residential housing and students living on campus?
It changed remarkably, and here's how it changed. Before our residence hall went up, we had put as one of our goals in our strategic plan to creating a campus community, because we found that faculty would come, teach their classes, go home. We had found the students would take their classes and go home. And the only people left on campus were the staff. So we wanted to make that a much richer experience for everybody. So we built the residence hall, and what happened in the meantime is we worked very hard to increase the participation in our clubs, and we tried to make sure that all the students on campus were aware of the fabulous things that were happening in the arts, they're happening in performances, we're having with speakers, with the various centers, and encourage the students to participate in those activities. To do that, they need to stay around campus. Having the residence hall was simply that anchor that made all those things possible. So I remember the very first year, after we opened the residence hall, the gentleman who was the head of the student body said, well, I need to be in charge of the student life in the student body because I need to oversee those students. And we said, no, they belong to the residence hall. He said, but I need to make sure that there's a lot of student life. So we collaborated with him because he wanted to make sure that all the students were engaged. And one way to do it was to take that population of students that was on campus. So it was a great experience, and we have some of that here at NJCU, and we're looking to grow it.
Well, Sue, you know, I'm a very big fan of yours, certainly in your energy and your enthusiasm, and I think that you will obviously be a strong leader for the city. Let me ask you a question about giving advice. If you had a 21-year-old Sue Henderson standing in front of you, and you were going to give that young person some advice after your experience now, what would it be?
Oh my goodness, that's a great question. And I will tell you, it's the same advice I gave my son this weekend, who is not 21, but he's he's getting there. And that is this, is to understand that life is very long and that it has wonderful, wonderful opportunities for you to learn everything you can from mistakes, as well as things you do right, as well as opportunities that come up. Connect yourself with smart people and people who are smarter than you, and learn for your whole life, because there's wonderful things out there and there are great people with whom you can work. So, and then just follow your passion, your dream, and anything is possible.
One follow-up question. When Sue Henderson was 21, did she think she would be here?
Absolutely not. All I was going to do is teach school.
All right, you raised the bar for a lot of young women and leaders of universities. Thank you, Sue, very much for your service to higher education and to your great partnerships that we've had over the years. And wish you the very, very best at City. They're very lucky to have you.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a great place, and I look forward to making it even better with people here.
Thank you,
Thank
Sue.
you. Take care.